All right, so you've brought us a digital time capsule this time. This should be fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're diving deep into the blog of, let me see, Lance Taylor, also known as, get this, Italian2K online.
Okay.
And from the looks of it, we've got gaming, music, personal thoughts, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
Should be way more interesting than trying to decode those chat room logs you dug up last week.
This is definitely different. I'll give you that. And the stuff we could find out about this guy could be good. We're not talking about, some big historical event here. This is someone's life online. So I guess the first question is, who eyes this Lance Taylor? What can we piece together from all of this?
Well, his Blogger account, get this, goes all the way back to 2009.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, practically the Stone Age when it comes to the internet.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true.
Remember when we used to spend like hours messing around with layouts and stuff,
Yeah.
trying to decide which music player to use?
Oh, yeah.
And Lance, well, he went with the awesome ink theme.
Hmm.
Even back then, that was a little,
It was a little,
little dated even then.
a little dated, yeah. So what do you make of that?
Well, it just goes to show, even back then, people were trying to, make their own space online, even just picking a theme for your blog. It was like you were saying, this is me, this is my style. And Blogger itself, it attracted a certain type of person back then. I mean, this wasn't like Facebook was becoming all about just kind of, being social. This was about sharing what you thought, what you loved, even your creative stuff with, well, everyone.
Yeah, and Lance was not shy about putting himself out there, let me tell you.
Yeah. Yeah, his About Me section, it's classic early internet gold. Playing video games, drinking pop, and loving hot chicks.
Nice.
I mean, come on, classic.
Yeah.
He's even got lists rapping and singing his hobbies, writing poetry, even admits to, get this, being addicted to downloading.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it gets better. He's got his Xbox Live tag, PSN ID, No Man's Sky friend code.
Yeah.
If it was a way to connect back then, he was on it.
He really wanted to connect with people, huh?
It seems like it.
It makes you think, this is when social media, as we know it now, was just getting going. And places like Blogger, that's how people found others like them, He wasn't just like reading and downloading. He wanted to actually talk to people about this stuff.
And that really comes across in his love for gaming is all over this blog. We're talking the Hungersven Co-op, the Specialists HLMOD, Time Splitters. This isn't just some casual gamer here. These are deep cuts.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty hardcore. What do you think that says about him as a gamer?
This is someone who likes, going deeper,
Yeah.
not just following the crowd. Finding those hidden gems, those games, those communities where you can really geek out. And he's even hyped about that new Assassin's Creed game set in Japan. He even calls it hard-boiled the way I love it.
Interesting.
Like he's using these games to, show off his own style.
Yeah, it's like he's curating an image, right? It's not, I like to play games. It's, this is the kind of gamer I am. And I feel like that's kind of, bleeds over into his music taste, too.
Because his music taste, man, talk about all over the place. We're talking the Tea Party, Pitch Shifter, then bam, Eminem and Yellow Wolf. Oh, and he even mentions, like, Playboy Cardi and Kodak Black.
Wow, what a range.
It's like he's pulling from, like, every era and every genre,
And that's what's so interesting about music. It really gives you insight into who someone is. It's not always, straightforward. It's like all these different things that have influenced you, your moods, memories, all mixed together.
Yeah.
And what speaks to us at one point in our lives, well, it might change as we grow, right?
Totally. Some things stick with you, though. He mentions Eminem a lot. Makes you wonder if, after all these years, he's still, his top artist.
Yeah.
He even talks about this AI-generated Eminem album, Death of Slim Shady, and how he's going to buy the CD.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a trip to think about now, with all this talk about AI music. But back then, that was pretty out there, wasn't it?
Oh, for sure. Back then, AI-generated content, especially music, it was still pretty new. And it's interesting, he specifically mentions getting the CD.
Right.
Like, earlier on his blog, he has this picture of his Atari 7800. It's almost like he really values the real thing, like owning a physical copy,
It's like he's trying to balance, liking new tech, but also wanting something, like, authentic.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
And speaking of authentic, he seems to think he's a bit of a rapper himself.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. He links to his 1-minute rap freestyle on SoundCloud.
Of course he does.
Gotta love it.
Yeah, the aspiring artist. Back then, it was almost like a rite of passage,
Right.
You had to share your creative stuff online, even if it wasn't, perfect.
Totally.
And it goes back to what we were saying about him wanting to connect with people. He's not just playing games and listening to music. He wants to create something himself, put himself out there.
Definitely. And he's not afraid to give you a peek into his life either. I mean, that picture of his bedroom, that's classic early 2000s internet, complete with the like MySpace angle and
Oh,
everything.
yeah, gotta get that right angle. But it's intentional, don't you think?
Oh, totally.
He's letting us see his space, literally, and, kind of personally. He's putting on a bit of a show, sure, but he's also being a little vulnerable.
Yeah. And that makes this quote he has even more interesting. He says, "You can tell who someone is by looking at their computer."
Oh, wow.
It's like he knows, even back then, how much this digital footprint he's making, how much it says about him, even if it's not the whole picture.
Exactly. It's like we carefully choose what we put online, It's like this highlight reel of our lives. But at the same time, it can reveal a lot more than we might want it to.
Yeah.
It becomes this time capsule, not just of what we're into, but, our values, our worries, even our contradictions.
It makes you think, I don't know, what would Lance think about all this? Like us going through his old blog, trying to figure him out.
I bet he'd get a kick out of it. It just goes to show you, the internet remembers. It's like these little pieces of ourselves we leave behind. Like, remember that quote he had about pain and insanity?
Yeah.
That always stuck with me. It feels like he was hinting at something he maybe wasn't ready to talk about directly.
Yeah, for sure. It's like, yeah, we see the image he's putting out there, but then you get these glimpses of like a whole other side to him. Makes you wonder, who is Lance today? Did he ever finish that rap album? Is he still like super into gaming? Is Eminem still his go-to?
Right. That's the thing. We just don't know. We have this like snapshot of him from back then, but it's both, I don't know, totally unique to him, but also kind of something we can all relate to. I mean, we all change and grow over time, right? It reminds us that everything we do online, it leaves a mark. And it makes you think, what would people find if they dug into our digital past? What kind of story would it tell?
That makes you think twice about hitting that post button, huh? It's kind of wild, really. All those random thoughts, those playlists we make, it all adds up. It says something about who we are, even if we don't mean it to. And who knows, maybe someday someone will be out there trying to make sense of it all, just like we did with Lance.
It's been a trip, that's for sure. Going through Lance Taylor's world, or at least the one he created online as Talion 2K. And even though we might never know the whole story, just the fact that we could look for clues, try to connect the dots, that's what makes this so fascinating, So yeah, next time you're scrolling through your own digital history, take a second, think about what it says about you. You might be surprised by what you find.